The following is a list of Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held for a demand of income. The demand of income is being made against the family as well as through fraudulent submissions of documents alleging that they are caring for the people in some sort of long-term care fashion. These Moors have been kidnapped literally off the street by employees of various corporations that are guised as counties, cities, towns, township, boroughs. These names that we have all been mentally conditioned to believe are government are not. They are exactly what they say they are. They are municipal corporations, and as such, if you do the research, you will find that they are foreign corporations on American soil. Therefore, they do not have standing nor jurisdiction to make a demand of income or even bring a claim the Aboriginal Indigenous people or any people on American soil, this making their actions criminal. However, as Moors, we must bring these crimes to the forefront via civil complaints against these unalienable constitutional treaty-secured rights of the people, Aboriginal Indigenous Moors of this land. If the municipal corporation has been provided, then we reference that along with the union state. If we don't have the municipal corporation where the employee works that actually did the kidnapping, then we just reference the union state that is bound and obligated to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. This list comprises Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held hostage by employees of various corporations on American soil, which is a violation of the American Constitution 1791, and it is a treaty violation, being that we are talking about Moorish Americans, Aboriginal Indigenous to this land, who have been kidnapped by employees of foreign corporation on American soil. This making this an international issue because you have two nations with one nation warring against another. Therefore, this is an international issue. If you have a family member near or far within your immediate family or one of the family that you know and you would like them added to this list, please send an email to MHHS-Eyes-Wide-Open@gmail.com. In the subject line, put Kidnap Moor, and please provide us with their free national appellation, the municipal corporation that the employee is operating through that kidnapped them, along with the union state that this corporation is in purview to. So with that, we start out with our sister Abkare Bay, kidnapped through a joint venture between Memphis Corporation and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee, Daoud Il under the purview of Arkansas, Amir Moslemin Il Kusu Ra Kush Bay under the purview of Missouri, Asar Patal Amin Ra Bay under the purview of Ohio, Jeremy Paler Il, Terry Thorne Bay, J. McCall Brooks Bay, Joseph Kanaday Il, Kush Amir Bunch Il, Emmanuel Billings Bay, Yassin Khalik Alamin Il, Michael Curry Bay, all under the purview of North Carolina, Noble Crisco Il under the purview of New Jersey, Messiah Aziz Il and Crystal Il, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer Corporation, Freehold Corporation, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on an update regarding baby Patricia Bay, kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey, Eldridge Terran Fisher Il, Marquis Sevion Il under the purview of Indiana, Solomon Il Bay, and Mumi Abu Bay under the purview of Texas, William Barrett Ill, under the purview of Virginia. Bomani Abidwil Ill, kidnapped by Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia. Che Ray Bay, under the purview of West Virginia. Thomas Lee Bay, under the purview of California. Victor Eduardo Aguaye Juarez Ill, kidnapped by Harlem Corporation under the purview of Georgia. Natro Tahuti Ill, kidnapped by Benner Corporation under the purview of Pennsylvania. Rennie Bay, kidnapped by Hamilton Corporation under the purview of, Hamilton, Ontario Corporation under the purview, well, actually, it's Hamilton Corporation. The state would be Ontario, and that's that would be a union state, and it's on American soil that is referenced as Canada. And last but not least, Brian George Mills Bay, kidnapped by the employees working through Glades Corporation under the purview of Florida. Thank you very much.
All right. That went by very quickly. Islam, and welcome to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Anita Ill, along with my co-host, Ms. Raheem Alice Ill.
Peace, family. Peace, Moors, everybody. Anki, Kujo, everybody.
Reverend Bay.
Islam, peace and love to all.
And Kujo Adwa Ill.
Right. Islam, Moors, peace and love.
All right.
Islam. All righty.
Yeah.
For our internet listeners, the chat room is open. Big shout out to our family listening near the corporate construct known as Great Britain, Islam. Family near the corporate construct known as South Africa, Japan, the Netherlands, Islam, Brother Albert, the Philippines, family near the corporate construct known as Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados. Let's see, where else? I think Puerto Rico, family listening near the corporate construct known as Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, and family that we have yet to connect with. Peace and love, and thank you so much for joining us and listening. Big shout out to our callers. Thank you so much for calling in each week, filling up the phone lines before the broadcast even begins, sharing, building, lending your energy so that we can all grow and uplift fallen humanity. And I think that is it for the announcements.
Two quick announcements over here.
All right, sisters. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I received a letter from Brother Rennie Bay today. He's supposed to be home in about a month and a half or 2 months or something. So he said to tell all the Moors Islam and thank you for the support. And as well, we got a call from the Moors near Panama, 617 area code.
Oh,
so Islam
that's
to the Moors in Panama as well.
I knew it was somebody else. I couldn't remember what corporate construct. Yes, I remember last week you told me. Yes, the Moors near the corporate construct of Panama. Peace and love, Islam. Yes.
Wow. Sure.
So let's see. Also, we have Sisters Standing on Law this Sunday. So make sure and join us, sisters, 1 o'clock this Sunday, right here for Sisters Standing on Law. Missy, you was going to say something?
No, I just said, really? Already? But, yeah, the first came in on a Sunday. So
That's
I'm
right.
like, wow.
And, Sisters Standing on Law this Sunday, that means that Sons of Allah is the Thursday after that.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And let's, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that we will be in the flesh tomorrow at New York.
Yes. We will be at the National Theater tomorrow, live in the flesh, this Wednesday and next Wednesday. And, of course, we have Abdullah Talib Mosley Ill following the fourth Wednesday for our etymology. Doors open at 6:30. Class begins at 7:30. Was you going to say something, Miss?
No, I think Cujo is about to say something, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Cujo.
No, I'm straight.
Oh, all righty. So, well, with that, I believe we got all of our announcements out just as I clicked out of the syllabus for today's class, but not to worry because I got it back. For those of you who would like a copy of the syllabus, send an email to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open and in the subject line put syllabus, all right? So today's subject matter, of course, is in conjunction with the final call theory, and it is entitled Who and or What Was the American Constitution Written For? Many say the Constitution is not for, quote, us, meaning the people, and that is absolutely correct. However, the question then becomes, who is it for? To determine that, the past, referred to as his story, which is really her-itage, must be known, or you will miss the necessary keys to take your place and be the enforcers of this universal document called the American Constitution, dated for modern Europeans' use in 1791, however ancient to the Aboriginal Indigenous People of the land. Now, I want to start out by just saying that, like we started out saying, many people say the Constitution is not for us, and it's not. There are no regulatory anything. Listen to me when I say this. There is no authority to regulate the people in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm going to say it again. There's no authority to regulate the people in any shape, form, or fashion. All right? Now, what's distressing, extremely distressing, and I'm going to have to say, boy, shouts out to you modern Europeans out there, because y'all are voicing your opinions. You are, utilizing the supreme law of the land to air your grievances in a very public way, which is not just for modern Europeans. The American Constitution, a lot of people, they say, they have this presumption, the Constitution isn't for the Moors. It's for the modern Europeans. No. It is that American Constitution, 1791, protects all people in their private capacity on American soil. It doesn't matter if you are here in terms of, a birthright, or you're visiting. It protects all people in their private capacity. That's why it says that your what is it? And it's affirmed. This is affirmed in the Declaration of Independence, which is also embodied somewhat in the, which is actually the precursor to the documenting of this universal principle called the American Constitution. It says that the life and the liberty and the property of the people is protected. And it is. Because the life, the liberty, and the, first of all, liberties, people need to really comprehend what liberties is. The definition of liberty is that the Constitution protects the liberties of the people from infringement by every single corporation on American soil, including the Union States, as well as the so-called federal government. Because the Union States and the federal government, they are all corporations. Now, in order for you to really comprehend how the vast majority of people have been tricked, really tricked, you have to do some studying. I know studying is a bad word for a lot of people, but you know what? It's tough. You don't want to study, you're going to go down the drain like dirty toilet water. All right? You can't escape study. You may not like it. You know what? Here's the thing. If you don't like it, that's just too bad. Ain't nobody going to pull you kicking and screaming. If you don't want to do the necessary studying to know, that's on you. It ain't on nobody else. So don't be trying to shout out anymore, anywhere, talking about, y'all ain't come save me. Y'all ain't come do this, that, or the other for me. You the one chose not to study. Everybody's supposed to be competent to take care of their own affairs. That's called being private. So now let's circle back to this American Constitution and what does it mean? And how have the vast majority of people been tricked? If you look at any charter, I'm trying to find the one that I'm aware, because the New York City has a charter, a very old charter. And that charter comes from Charles II of Great Britain. I like to use it because all of the charters of every union state, just about, comes from some foreign power. All of the original 13, what they call colonies, today referred to as states, they initially started as companies, chartered by foreign powers, all right? Now, they signed on to the American Constitution so that the people that was running those companies, because companies and corporations do not run by themselves. They need a flesh and blood being to run it, all right? So we have to tear down those fictitious names and go behind them and pull the people out. Because when I say the Constitution was written to protect all people from corporations, did you really think our ancestors wrote this magnificent document but was too stupid enough to realize that a corporation is an inanimate object? Inanimate object. It doesn't even exist except for in the minds of the people on a piece of paper. So you got people talking about, I'm in California, or I'm in New York City, or I'm in Los Angeles, or I'm in Atlanta. All of these are companies/corporations. You can't be in a corporation unless you're in their corporate book and you're a piece of paper. And if you're a piece of paper, you ain't a flesh and blood being. All right? People need to be clear about what this document does, what it literally, really does. It ain't giving nobody nothing, and it ain't taking nothing away. It's securing what you got, your God-given rights, God-given. That's a supreme, that was given to you by a supreme being. You ought to know, if you're a scientist of Moor, you ought to know who that supreme being is. That was given to you by a supreme being. It can't be taken away. It has been secured through that document called an American Constitution, and it was written down for modern Europeans as of 1791, but this is a universal principle that is followed by the Aboriginal Indigenous people of the land, all of the land. All right? So now, in, I want to say 1640, Charles II wrote up a charter for them to establish New York City, or New York. Well, New York. And then New York City came about, I want to say, in 1783. All right? In the New York City Charter, it says that New York City is a incorporation. It's a corporation incorporated, and it can sue and be sued. Now, what a lot of people always seem to forget is date, timeline. All right? 1784, this municipal corporation was established by the powers of Great Britain. The Constitution came into effect in 1791. All right? The Constitution affirms that charges can only be brought by a flesh and blood being that has been injured and has first-hand knowledge. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed today, because the vast majority of people have been herded through this institution of the corporation, or I should say this arm of the municipal corporation called a, quote, school, because the vast majority of people have been herded through there for financial gain. All right? They know nothing of law. They're not even referred to as civilians, and if you look up the word civilian in the Black's Law Dictionary, it's just one who is knowledgeable in law. Once the people started being herded through this arm of the municipal corporation, they stopped calling them civilians, because the teaching that they got from within the family was now transferred to a foreigner who was on American soil for profit, and they stopped teaching them, and these civilians then became pseudo-citizens. How can you be a citizen of anything and you have no knowledge of the workings of it? How can that be? Now then you have Moors running around here. They don't understand government. Government is synonymous with family. That means if you hear the word government, they're talking about family. If you hear the word family, they're talking about government. We can never be. This is affirmed in the original 13th Amendment with 20 sections, where Section 12 says cannot be members of the Union State. So when these corporations say we ain't gonna do business with you unless you bring us so-called state identification or state ID, really they're saying we're not going to do business with you unless you produce a state membership card. All right, because remember, in order for it to be valid identification, it's got to have your nationality on there, And there is no such nationality as USA. USA is a fictitious construct. It's not even a place. Where is the United States of America? Somebody tell me. Where is the United States? Where is that? It doesn't exist because it's a corporation. Somebody tell me, where is New York? Where is California? Where's Texas? I will challenge you. Whatever corporation, municipal or otherwise, that you are near, you need to find their charter. And for most of the original 13 colonies, you can go to the online Yale University and you can pull their charter up. All right? And it will tell you what constitutes the location. I'm going to see if I can pull one up real quick while I'm talking. What constitutes the location of any of these companies / corporations, be they a so-called state, which is actually a colony? How did they begin calling them states when prior to that they were called colonies? Prior to that, they were called provinces, and prior to that, they were called parishes, religious colonies. Some of them are still called parishes, like down around the Louisiana area, Louisiana, what they call in near the Louisiana, the Texas, the Mississippi, they still call them parishes, or they call them wards. And then you got people shouting out, I'm from this so-and-so ward or so-and-so parish.
Mm-hmm.
we give it away by what we say all the time. In these charters, it tells you the parameter of the colony, right? Now, these parameters, they're fictitious. What do I mean? If you look at the parameters, it says something like down to John Street, right to like a river, or across to the State House or something like that, you know? So the parameters that it's giving you are fictitious, and in some cases, they don't even exist today. But they never use latitude and longitude because that's the land. But they can't, a fiction can't use land, latitude, and longitude. It can only use fictitious diagrams. And that's why you'll never see latitude and longitude. But let's get back to the American Constitution. Who is it for? It is for exactly who it says it is for. It is for corporations. Every single corporation on American soil must adhere to the supreme law of the land. That law is the American Constitution. That means that none of these corporations, none of them are supposed to be violating the unalienable, inalienable liberties of any people on American soil. Unalienable, inalienable means that which cannot be bought, sold, or transferred. Bought, sold, or transferred. Bought, sold, or transferred. Your liberties consist minimally of the basic necessities of life. go to your Black Laws Dictionary, 4th edition, and look up the definition of liberty, look up the definition of inalienable and unalienable. Now, I know I gave inalienable and unalienable last week. We did an analysis, a review of liberty some months ago, maybe last year or the year before. It doesn't matter. People, you need to go into the Black Law 4th edition dictionary. You need to look up these words, because these words is your salvation. And when you take those words and you tie it to the American Constitution, you get some semblance of what these employees working through these municipal corporations and some of these state corporations and possibly even the so-called classified federal corporations, what they are doing to the people. But most of all, you will see that the people are not doing their job of enforcing the American Constitution against these violators of the people's liberty. You literally got a municipal corporation, foreign municipal corporation on American soil that never signed on to the American Constitution, running around talking about they are law enforcement, and they're not enforcing the supreme law of the land, and they are robbing the people and enslaving the people and profiting off of this enslavement of the people every day. And the people on a whole are silent. The prophet said, I came to free you from your mental enslavement. And baby, let me tell you, the only way that you can be free of that mental enslavement, because that mental enslavement largely consists of fear. If you ain't studying, you're never going to be free of that mental enslavement. I'm going to say it again. Yep, I'm a curse. If you ain't studying, you ain't never going to be free of that mental enslavement. Because to unlocking the door to your mind. So if you don't want to study, your mind will be locked shut tight. Crazy glue shut. Nothing will get through it. And you will be exactly where you are for the rest of your life. We will meet you back here 20 years looking back, and you'll be in the same place because you ain't studied, you ain't unlocked your mind.
Damn.
So, study. Islam?
Whoa. That was pretty hot right there. That was pretty. I tell you, that part about it, if you can't unlock your mind, and then we've read before. You're talking about getting the truth. Everybody's looking for the truth, and it says it right there in the Red Book they got it, or the Secret Teachings of the Brother of the East. Look, the truth has never been shut up. You just need to open your mind so that it can come and take the seat. That was hot. That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining.
I just want to clear up one thing, because I gotta say, saying, did you say our government is a corporation? No, government means family. Family means government. All right. So when these modern Europeans talk about, it's we're the government. Well, you might be the government of your people, but you're not the government of our people. We are two different families, two different governments, two different species. All right? I was talking the other day. Oh, my gosh. I got to remember what I said. But, we're two different species, and the two can never, ever, ever, ever mix outside of some sort of laboratory. We can't mix. And even once we mix, that's all you're doing is creating a third species. All right? So we're not the same family. We're not the same government. people on the whole need to understand that government means family and family means government, and that's why the United States of America construct was established for the modern Europeans who had no nation prior to that. Prior to 1774, modern Europeans they were nationless people. They had no nation because they were not looked at as
a nation.
People.
Okay. Yep.
They weren't looked at as people. They didn't have any attachment to any of the families of planet Earth because they're not Aboriginal Indigenous to planet Earth. That's science. That's not Anna Eve speaking. That's scientific. All right? And here's some other little bit of jewels. Scientifically, if you're from this particular dimension, then nature will never try to take you out.
That's right.
All right? If you're Aboriginal Indigenous to this particular dimension, nature will never be trying to take you out. But as we all know, the sun is always trying to take out the modern Europeans all the time because they're not indigenous to planet Earth. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's science.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Tell it. And, Annie, can I add that you're also saying all of this, which is very well said, to also explain, even though we said we weren't going to really talk about the current bull crap that's going on with these people concerned about Trump, but at the same time, it's to say that, listen, if they decide that they want to do, like they say, oh, we're going to change the Constitution. Listen, people, you got to know that they're not talking about changing the ancient Constitution principles, the Constitution imbued with the ancient principles of civilization that you ought to be going by. Maybe, have you thought, they're talking about their daggone selves. But as you said, and so eloquently, if you want to count yourself in those numbers, they'll take you. They'll take you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening. And so what I see is that the forcing to make changes is absolutely going down right now because it's going to be, you're going to have to take your place amongst the affairs of man. You're going to be forced to or be food for these empires. It really is nothing else in between. So, we have our people that still, we do the work that we do because we're compelled to do so. And then you still have people, for dumb stuff and not recognizing what family and nations are. And so they'll divide. They'll divide the family within the family and think that they're getting somewhere. They're not. This is some serious times. Trump and his administration is operating on your ancestral estate under the established law of the land. That, like you also said, since we haven't been doing what we're doing, they're like, well, you're up for the grabs. And it says in the King Alfred, those who do not use their intelligence are like stakes on the table. Well, that's what the people are going to see. While all along they talking about, well, I don't know what the Moors talking about, the Constitution and writs and stuff. No, that's some serious stuff because all we talk about is a public notice, not no request asking for jack from these people. That's it, and that's all. Very simplistic. And really, and then one other thing that just passed in my mind, these people, and we're actually going to talk more about this on Sister Standing on Love. They're telling you things like, oh, does the Constitution matter in 2017? Look, anybody that says that to you, you can be sure, without having to wonder, that they are definitely not down for family and government, that they are holding up the signs to keep these corporations alive. Because because there's a case law that says these governments, or what they call themselves government, they're corporations. Therefore, they have no parity with the real flesh and blood beings. But the real flesh and blood beings, they might put on a piece of paper their flesh and blood, but they don't even study to know what that truly, 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 truly means. And to know why it's important for them to sit back and enforce that Constitution, which is really annexation to their existence, to keep other citizens. How many times have we said this? To keep the prophet said it as well, to keep the other citizens from molesting you. But now you got some of your family is saying, no, I'm going to molest our people too. I want to do the molesting, no problem. These are the days. And so with all that you said, it's also to say that as you watch them do what they do, and decide, we're going to change the law. They ain't changing nothing where you're concerned. We're concerned, or the natural people are concerned, because the real deal, it is truly time to stand even more than you did before. Now, if you didn't do it before, you didn't take the time out to do it before, still, that does not change what time it is. That's what time it is. This is where we are, forced to make changes. That's it. And if you don't make them, it's all right because you made your decision. But that doesn't mean everyone else is. So I say that, how we talked about the appellation of Trump, we have no idea. Ms., you did a interview, and I believe it was Blue Pill was on there, was saying, listen, the people did not recognize even when Obama was in there. And the sad part about not recognizing what Obama was doing, to reaching his hand out saying, hey, this is your opportunity. Y'all need to stand up now. You can't stand for you, but we look for somebody else to stand for us, and that's not what the days are right now. So the sad part is that he did that. And a lot of people still did not catch it. They didn't catch it. So it doesn't change that it exists. I mean, he reached out and said, "Oh yeah, we rights of indigenous people." Of course, they recognize it. As you brought out last week, I think it was it's the principles of the Constitution, which is what universal. Prophet told you himself, "I'm universal," right? I'm a universal prophet. So all the signs were there, and we're still bickering about, we got a black president, or whether we have one or not. Or, dumb stuff, like the dumb stuff and spending time and slandering each other and all that old crap, right? So here comes Trump. He is the Trump card, trust and believe. But it doesn't mean it's bad for some, and it doesn't mean you have to be on his side. Because if you know what his side is, as Anna E. just eloquently expressed, and it's in the Constitution, then you'll know what you have to do. And that's to enforce the law, or the law made manifest. Islam.
And it's just interesting correlating still with what the conversation is, bringing it back to the Constitution, specifically the Ninth Amendment.
Yes.
When it says in there, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And I was mentioning this last week, and he brought it up again this week. We are different species, right? So they might look and say, okay, well, we have 2 arms, we have 2 legs, head, body, and things like that. But that doesn't make us the same. Like, crocodiles and alligators look very similar, but they're not this exact same species. Though you can tell they're related in some way or another, the same. So, the makeup, the phenotype, or the build of the natural body, still we can see obvious distinguishments between us. Like there's intrinsic and extrinsic differences between us, because again, just obvious on the face. And I'm not saying this makes anybody better than anybody else, but through what's obvious, there's a difference between us. The skin complexion, I'm not saying that makes anybody greater. Let me emphasize that. In their moral character, I'm just saying that there are physical differences we can't deny. So, again, when you speak of family government, every species has its own form of government, right? but none of the species really have jurisdiction over the others, meaning that, you know, lions and cheetahs are both cats, but they live similar lifestyles but different, meaning that for the most part, cheetahs, you know, tend to, they're young and teach them how cheetahs move through, you know, the plains and the forest or the jungle or wherever it may be, you know. Certain things are wired within, and these are birthrights. Like, they're just, it is what it is. Your natural build or your natural makeup is the birthright, because you do have a right to, you know, your characteristic, personality, things like that. So all of these, to be yourself, you have the right to be yourself. So when you're wired a certain way, you know, this is also protected under the Ninth Amendment. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily make us a part of, you know, the de facto institutions. But what I'm saying is that there's laws, the law of the land protects us to say, no, look, we are autonomous, whether you Pilgrim, Crusader type want to recognize it or not. You're obligated to this, you know, and it's about that obligation. We know the challenges, and we know, you know, the victories and all of these things. But at the end of the day, they are their own society who's trying to take rule over other societies, meaning that in nature you have the situation with prey and predator. So like I was saying, you know, the cheetahs are cheetahs. The lions are lions. Cheetahs, they can run, hunt, and kill, you know, same way lions can. But you don't see cheetahs trying to interfere with the affairs of how lions move. It's not their position. That's not their, that has nothing to do with their existence. You know what I mean? Their thing is they may know to stay out the way because they could be food or whatever, but I'm just saying that for the most part, you don't see cheetahs in the lion pride. It just doesn't happen like that, you know, unless you see some of the stuff that goes on today. They have different animals, you know, taking younger animals in. Like, example, you might see that in the zoo when they're out of their natural environment, but for the most part, in nature, the laws of nature, you know, everything is, it sticks to its own kind, like its own measure. And that's just what it is. So, again, looking at that Ninth Amendment, like, because even when you go back to the treaty and you see the distinguishment between Moors and Christians, all right, you know, and then you also have the First Amendment there when we're looking at the Constitution for your own religious freedom, right, for your liberty of conscience and things like that. So, you know, they can't force you to infuse with their ideologies and ways of living, because you got statutes, codes, and rules and things like that that are formulated from a Christian society. And there's a clear distinguishment between us, just like it's a clear distinguishment between the cheetah and the lion. So though they are cats, they are not the same. So when you see that in the treaty, as far as Moors and Christians, we don't have to come up under the same ideologies or necessities or ways of living as the Pilgrim, because we are not the same. We are not. You know, people say, you know, and I respect the fact that, yeah, there's one race, the human race, but every are not the same within that. Just like cheetahs and lions. They're cats, but they're not the same. So, yeah, we have commonalities, but we also have a lot of differences. And in teaching, in Noble Drew Ali, teaching us to be ourselves, we can find our lane and, you know, be more self-sufficient amongst ourselves. Like, because the lions don't look to the cheetahs to feed them. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they go get it, right? The lions are not at the banks of the river looking for the crocodile to throw them a piece of deer. Like, no, they're moving together as a lion pride to go get deer. You know what I mean? And they all going to eat without permission any other co-animal. Because outside of that, if you see us eat your food yourself. So, these are things that, you know, we have to really consider and understand as far as the laws of nature are concerned. Because we're talking about natural existence, natural necessities, you know, the necessity of us seeing ourselves as Noble Drew Ali taught us or said he was coming to do and did. So when he said, I came to teach you to be yourself, he didn't say, I came to teach you how to be pilgrims. He didn't say that I came to teach you how to be Europeans, or that I came to teach you how to accept the Christian rule. Because a lot of you may have forgot that you're still dealing with the lineal descendants behind these corporations of those Christians who originally made that treaty with the Moors, right, as you were saying about Barack when he was saying that, you know, the first nation, not country, not county, none of that, but the first nation was Morocco, Moors, right? So we know nationality transcends fictitious borders, meaning that your nationality doesn't change wherever you go on this planet Earth. So when he was talking about the first nation, you know, to recognize these Pilgrim Society, if you will, being Morocco, right? We can see that lineage that it's something sick going on where Moors are trying to be Europeans, and Europeans in secret, you know, have been drooling at the jaws to be like Moors. And this is what you see in their secret, so-called secret societies anyway, with them wearing fezzes that say Islam, Mecca, Medina, you know, Egypt, you know what I mean? So all of these Moorish, beautiful appellations, they're wearing this in secret, like it's a dress-up party, like it's Halloween time for them when they put that on. You know what I mean? So behind closed doors, they're playing dress-up with Moorish regalia, Moorish garments.
Yeah.
Because they're going to mock what they're trying to be like. You know what I mean? So it's what it is. I'm just saying that there's so many protections within that Constitution. I know there's a lot of adversity, but there's a lot of protections. There's a lot of things that are written down, things to enforce and to be fortified in as far as your position navigating through life here on the American land, you know, specifically as well North America, including Canaan land, which is North America. So all you Asiatics of America, that also includes Canaan land, you know what I mean? And on that note, shout out Canaan land Moors, Cujo, everybody sending right. Y'all just did the Noble Drew Ali solar return. So you're putting in work for the Prophet as usual. But yeah, so these are just things that we need to keep in mind. You know, we be ourselves. We shouldn't be ashamed or feel guilty or have to, you know, feel down or bad or saddened by it, because no other species does that. No other species, like you got falcons and you got eagles. Falcons are proud to be falcons. Eagles are proud to be eagles. They are what they are, like, you know what I mean? And then you got the seagulls who are happy to be seagulls. Everything embraces what its existence is, you know what I mean? So you don't see seagulls jealous because they're not eagles, or falcons or eagles jealous of falcons because they're not falcons. Or you see eagles trying to do what seagulls do, even though they have certain things, because the seagulls, of course, you see them, they're like flying rats, and they got more unity than a lot of species, the way they move. For anybody who's been like on the East Coast, summertime, them seagulls, one of them eating, they all eating, and it could just be one piece of bread. They move together. So I don't mean to ramble on. I'm just saying that there's a lot of lessons in nature, you know, and I haven't realized anything in its natural existence who is ashamed of what it is. So, you know, as quote unquote the supreme beings of the planet Earth, or the Lord of the plane of things made manifest, right? We should not be ashamed or feel like we have to acquiesce to a species who doesn't have territorial jurisdiction, going to do something on your land. Like, how do they even survive? There's certain things that are only built for certain climates. I mean, there's certain things in the rainforest that can't live in the desert. So if they come from a different environment, how would you let them thrive in yours? Like, you know what I mean? How is a desert crawler going to tell people how to be abundant in the rainforest who've been there for upon centuries, millennia? So just got to wisen up, tap back into ourselves. And with that, I yield the floor for now.
It's
right.
I just wanted to add one thing. And we're not saying all of this to say you can't be friends with someone else or you can't whatever, or that you hate or dislike. We're just saying that this goes along with what was explained at the opening of this as to what family is, which is government. And that family is government is family. And then you go along where the prophet said, do not prefer a stranger's blood over your own.
Mm-hmm. It's wrong.
Right. And one thing else I want to add on, I don't mean to sound too random, but I need you also mentioned creating a third species. When you look at amalgamation and the mixing and things like that, the greyhound dog is a mixture between a leopard and some other type of dog. So it's a hybrid too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you see these take place to many things. I just wanted to add that on,
Yes. And Joe, go on. Put it down.
Just in regard to the perspective of Moors being themselves. That's why Noble Drew Ali told us that our religion is Islamism. So we have our own distinctive perspective of religion. And keep in mind that when you do your research on Islamism, you realize that it's not religion in that sense. It's really a political mindset. It's not necessarily, looking at this idea of worshiping something or whatever. So when we go to the Moorish leader's historical message, and Noble Drew Ali is talking about the door of religious freedom swinging open to all under the American Constitution, it should be a sign for Moors to galvanize around enforcing the Constitution for whatever it is that we're looking to get remedy from. Because it wasn't only there, it was also in the Divine Warning. It wasn't only there, it was also in Plea to the Nation. It wasn't only there, it was also in the Quran. You know what I mean? Like this reference to making sure that Moors take a position of enforcing the supreme law, not the things that come from the pilgrims that are posing as law.
Right.
Because remember that when we look at American Constitution and things like that, we're still going back to the fact that it was the Iroquois Confederation, the law of the Great Peace, that template for them to even say Constitution.
Yeah.
When we look at the treaty, the template for Constitution. So when and this is why it's such a hard blow when you enforce what it is the supreme law of the land is, because it keeps going back to that point of that thing is not it. We might not be party to that, but we're party to treaties that predate that Constitution, which is tied to those things. You know what I mean? We know that they make a distinction in the treaty between Moors and Europeans. You know, they're not. You know, it's just like what Ms. is saying with the eagles and the falcon. You know, they could have put a falcon next to the Great Seal, but they chose to use an eagle for a specific reason. They just pick an eagle to use the eagle just because they felt like it. You know what I mean? They're making a point. You know, everything is a template off of what we were the originators of. You know what I mean? You know, they got whatever they have today as far as astrology or whatever comes directly from Temple of Dendera. You know, all these so-called churches or whatever are stuff that they inherited and turned into a church. You know what I mean? We even have the pyramids that were ours that they destroyed and made cities with and all that. You know what I mean? So there's a certain foundational frequency that we have to be vibrating on in order for us to have the impact that we really want to have with regard to this information that we're obtaining in our studies. But it's not going to have a firm footing unless we are taking the position of recognizing that we are the ones that the templates are always built by.
Yeah.
We are the founders, and everybody else that comes after is taking our stuff, using it, and then have us thinking that them having it is really theirs, and then we have to go find something different over here to go use or whatever like that, when the thing that these people are using to even try to bury us is our stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even down to the word American.
Even down to that. You know what I mean? Make it, like, I was even thinking about all these so-called different groups or whatever, that all of them are going to say, you know, they have some type of quote-unquote religious practice that they do, right? But then on the other side, they're going to deny the Constitution, which gives them that authority to practice that religious stuff they're claiming. You know what I mean? So, you know, when Moors start speaking up and addressing these things from a constitutional perspective, so that people can recognize the power that they even have, that they're not even using. They're oblivious to the power that they have just by standing up. Like they'll stand up on Torah before the Constitution, when it should be the other way around. You know what I mean? Enforcing the Constitution is supposed to give the Torah power. Enforcing the Constitution is supposed to give the Quran power. Enforcing the Constitution is supposed to give the Bible power. Enforcing the Constitution is supposed to give your Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple power, not the other way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it's interesting with regard to the topic of you know, who does the Constitution apply to and all that, and you know how far off they have our people disconnected from this document, and not recognizing that document is your shield against these people who have constantly been violating us. They're still doing it today.
The true Moorish shield, right? The true Moorish shield.
Right? And why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Because we're taking the position of putting all these things before constitutional enforcement. And as soon as you put the things before constitutional enforcement, now they're going to use the Constitution to kick your ass.
Right.
Because trust, they're going to use the Constitution when they come at you.
Right.
Trust, they're going to use the fact that they have an oath to that and all that stuff to violate you.
Yeah.
Because if we're not going to stand up and say, well, Article whatever says this, amendment whatever, and stand on those things to keep those people in check, they're moving on the fact that we don't say anything to keep us in check.
That's right.
Like when like we're looking at the whole thing with the political stuff going on, right? People are gonna make claims that Cujo's Canadian and that's Canada and all that stuff. Well, I work in the school board, and you know what they're talking about? You know what they're talking about in the classes in the schools up here? They're talking about Trump and all that. They're not talking about the Queen and Trudeau and the Canadian government stuff. They don't care about that. That doesn't even have any weight here. That's not even the focal point of the politics here. The focal point of the politics here is what's going on south of here. You know what I mean? What's going to be the impact here if Trump gets in? What's Trump going to do with the relations between Canada and whatever? They don't care about what Canada's going to do now that Trump's in. They're wondering what's U.S. going to be doing when this guy comes in, and how's that going to impact here? Again, going back to the thing of Constitution, American Constitution first, and then Canada stuff after.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They even had a big article in the news today about what's going to happen to Canada if the Queen dies. Who's going to take over? You know what I mean? Because, they already know that they're keeping this lady alive because she's not real. You know what I mean? Like Elizabeth died years ago. Who knows what that is that's still alive walking around? That's not a lady walking around. They know that. You know what I mean? They know that the so-called Pope is going to be doing his little rituals with young boys and all that stuff, give energy to the Queen so she can live longer. She's been supposed to be dead long time ago. She's not supposed to be still around still. Why is she still around? Because everybody who's taken the position of boosting this place is sending all their energy to this lady who they don't even know who she is or whatever. When if the people up here started enforcing the Constitution, all that British monarchy BS will die tomorrow.
That's right.
Tomorrow it'll be done for. Yeah, it's already there already.
It doesn't even exist. People don't even get it. The only reason, look, don't mean to cut in on you, Cujo, but I just want to reiterate, people, y'all need to really read the Holy Quran, specifically chapter 1. Man is mine. The only reason all of this stuff is going on is because we feed into it mentally. And the biggest, you know what? I don't even know about us. I really don't. I have to laugh and just keep on moving because they have a movie called Monster Inc. It's for children. In that movie, it says that in Monster University, I think it was, or maybe it was Monster 2 or whatever, they was like, oh, my God, Monsterland is losing power. Well, why is Monsterland losing power? Because they're not able to scare the children anymore. And they get their energy. They said it right in the movie. They get their energy to run their city from the fears of the children. Who do you think they're talking about? They had to change. They had to, because they were on the verge of non-existence. Because they couldn't scare the children. They was popping up like they always been popping up, and the children would look at them for 5 seconds and then bust out laughing instead of screaming in terror because they wasn't able to get no more energy. They had to change their program. Instead of scaring the children to death, they had to make them laugh. And they found out that in making them laugh, they got more energy than they ever got scaring them. This is what's getting ready to go down. They got to change their format, or they going down. This is what this is all about. But the point of the whole movie is the only way that they were able to power their city was through the emotional fear of the people. Trump, whoever he's going to put in, people, look, Canada is a corporation. United States of America is a corporation. Great Britain is a corporation. These three entities have a historical relationship. And if you did the research, you would know why all three of them depend on each other. And they always paying attention to what the other is doing from a business perspective, because without one, they can't do what they are doing around the world with other business corporations. The United States of America was supposed to be done when China came here and didn't want to renew. They didn't want to bankroll them again. They were supposed to be done. But then they leaned on Great Britain. And then Great Britain's euro went kaput. So now they leaning on Canada, which is a corporation. It is not a place. So you need to wake up. Where you come from? Canada. Where you come from? Great Britain. How the hell did you come from a corporation? I thought you came from your mama's womb. I mean, I'm just saying. When we make answers like this, they look at us and say, okay, well, they must be somebody's product. Whose product is it? Oh, ain't nobody taking it, so I'll grab it and use it until somebody comes along and shows me that it might be there. And then if somebody does come along and says, well, this is my product right here, then they get to fighting over it. Well, I know this is my product. No, it's your product. They talking about the people now, because the people are so asleep. They be telling you this stuff every day in every way, and we still don't wake up out of our mental enslavement. Then we want to sit here and talk about, well, you know, the modern Europeans, they said we all the same, you know. If you cut me, I bleed. So we all the same, right? But if I cut a dog and a cat, they both bleed, but they ain't the same. I can't hear you if you're talking.
Oh yeah, I was on mute. I apologize. What about people? Because we're trying to bring it home to them that, you know, as you said, these are corporations, and I'm telling you, Trump is going to show. He's showing you people that, but we don't realize our place. And they say, well, you know, we know that colonists or foreigners, they have an attachment to their motherland, provided that they have an attachment to their mother country, right? All right. Now, Washington, D.C., everybody knows that's only supposed to be like a 10-mile district. So whatever the heck they're doing, we could at minimum say, well, y'all keep doing that within that little about district, because that's what they are actually adhered to. You know, it's all in our minds that we think that what they say about their family, their foreign family, applies to us. And I think this broadcast thus far has, at minimum, shown that it doesn't. It only applies to them because that's their family. And Kuja just said it. He says, look, this is why we have the religious freedom, and et cetera, that we're supposed to be dealing with what we know is correct. And like I said earlier, they're talking about, oh, we're going to change the Constitution. No, you're not, because there's even a case law that says it cannot be altered. And all the altering that was done does not apply to you or I in terms of the organic Constitution from our ancient principles and forefathers. It doesn't. So it means that it's just time to make sure that everybody takes their place and keep them in their place.
Yeah.
But that's really what it means. It's really a good
say one last. Yeah, I want to read something because I was able to find this charter. This is the charter of New York, of the city of New York. All right. Now this is the 1897 charter. The original charter for New York was, I want to say, 1640 or 1644. That was the first one. But I just want people to recognize that all charters have this paragraph. Every last one of them. I don't care if you're calling yourself a state of whatever or a commonwealth of whatever or a city, county, city, town, township, borough. They're all corporations. You know what I'm saying? They're all corporations. As such, every last one of them has a charter. And almost every charter has this wording. Listen to what I'm saying here. This is in the charter of the City of New York, or New York City. Section 3, Chapter 1. It says, the name of the corporation constituted by this act shall be City of New York, and the same shall by that name be a body politic and corporate in fact and in law, with power to contract and to be contracted with, to sue and be sued. Now, this was in 1897. What is unconstitutional about this?
Could you read that again? Because I clearly thought I heard you say the name of this corporation shall be New York.
The name of the corporation constituted by this act shall be the City of New York, and the same shall by that name be a body politic and a corporate in fact and in law, with power to contract and to be contracted with, to sue and be sued. Now, and I said, this is 1897. What is unconstitutional about this? I'm going to tell you. You can't sue or contract with a fiction. So who are you really talking to? Who has the power to sign the contract? According to this, that would be the CEO, and the CEO is the government. The mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right here in their document. The mayor is the person who's going to be putting his autograph on any document that is alleged to be a contract, and if there is any kind of suing going on, it would have to be, it's supposed to be the CEO. But according to the Constitution, that's only if you're talking corporation to corporation, all right? Because that would mean that the corporate employee would have first-hand knowledge of what is going on within the corporation, and that person who is liable is the CEO, the head of that corporation, all right? Now, in private life, the only one that could sue and contract is another flesh and blood being. So if I go to New York City Corporation and they say, oh, well, you need to sign this document, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other. I don't care if the name is same city in New York, because who I am contracting with under threat, duress, and coercion 9 times out of 10 is the CEO of that corporation, and that would be the mayor. He's the one that's liable. He's the one that must know what is going on below him. That's why he sits in that seat.
Wow.
But everything that's happening, when you start reading, that's why I'm telling you, Prophet said study, study, study. He said it for a reason. He pointed to areas for us to study. If we would just do the studying, I mean, he handed it to you on a silver platter, said, here, my people, here is your salvation. On a silver platter. What is it? Study this. I ain't studying that crap. Study
hard-hearted and rebellious.
He said, study this. It will free your mind from the mental, self-imposed slavery. I ain't studying nothing. I want to stay mentally enslaved for the rest of my life. I don't want to take responsibility for anything. I want to be able to call on somebody and they take care of it for me, because I got it like that.
And if I do take responsibility, I'm going to start something new. And Cujo just said it best. He said they want to, they'll know what's behind all of it, and they want to start something new without enforcing the law of the land. You see, I mean, hopefully we can get another reflection of ourselves with these conversations here, you know?
Yes, yes. The answer is all within us. Ain't nothing here new. There is nothing new under the sun. It's already within you. You know, the beautiful thing about the universe is that it did not bring you here and put you in a situation without giving you the keys to get out.
Mm-hmm.
That's love.
Yeah. That's love.
So much. So much. Anyway, so man, it's just so much to say. I mean, there's really not enough time to there's just not enough hours in the day for me to study everything I am just absolutely curious about. Really, there isn't. So, for those of you who are listening and have a question, comment, concern, if it's all right with everyone else, we're going to open up the lines and start taking some questions. So if you have a question, comment, concern, whatever, press 1 on your telephone dial and we will begin to take callers in the order that they appear. So we have caller 214-327, and they are doing something. So we'll come back to them another time.
They got
like a party or something going on. I know. Caller 323-301. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest of Maxim.
My name is Letitia. I'm in California, Los Angeles.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes, I just got some of the information I was just studying. I've been on a long goose chase to come here and find the truth. I've studied Buddhism, you name it. I was telling somebody today I left the Bible and came back to the Bible. Ended up all the way back. But I found out that finding myself was the way to my salvation, to know who I was. And I was searching through religion, and I wasn't searching to find out who I was, what I was as a nationality. I was proud to be black. So I told my son, we looked it up in the dictionary, and black was to describe a plant or an animal. And he said he didn't want to be an animal. So I had to figure out what we were, and I said it was a shame that we can only go back so far to figure out who we are as in family reference. And you saying that government is family, that's a whole nother term to me, to hear that government is family, because I'm always against the government. The government seems like it's against me, like it's systemized my family down.
No, the reality, the reality is that you're against private European colonial inquisitionist corporations that's been posing as government.
Right.
Right.
That's
all a lie.
Right.
Yeah, because remember, again, government, if government's family and you look at TV and somebody's doing State of the Union address and you don't know them and they're not part of here, then that's not the government.
Right.
Right.
That's something fictitious. It's fraudulent.
Right. Exactly. In your face too.
Right.
It's just that you've been accustomed to thinking. We've been indoctrinated and trained to think that government is what they show you and say they are, but that's not really what government is. That's all that it is. So people will say, my government name, and I tell them, that's not your government name.
That's why people are supposed to protect it, because it's supposed to be a family.
That's what governmental, that's what government really is, etymologically means governmental. So would you really want someone who's not your family governing the mental of you, your babies? Exactly. So the government is really the people, and therefore family, and that's what nationhood is, family.
Right.
And this is not our family. We established the United States of America for the foreign family operating on our land. It's just that simple.
Right.
Freedom for all.
I can see that in Syria and Iraq, how they just, bombarding them. At one point, you have to succumb to their mercy if they tear everything you have. You know what I mean? They take everything, your culture, your language, your land, everything. You, at one point, have to succumb, and that's what happened to us.
Well, they can't really take the land because the land doesn't go anywhere, but I understand what you're saying by domination, because there's a difference between dominion and domination. We have dominion.
Right.
And their nature of domination. But see, all of that is coming to an end, because nowhere on this planet is anybody really willing to sustain that type of usurpation and occupation anymore. They have nowhere to go. Their last stronghold, they think, is here. We've got. That's why it's important that we stand up and tell us what it is with the truth.
So in my studies, I was wondering if I could get a reference to something that I could read to learn more about the situation that I'm in California. I said I was going to look up the colony, find out the charter of California and find out my jurisdiction or whatever.
Have you ever looked at California? Have you ever looked at that one?
Never.
Well, Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, is a corporation that was established, if I'm not mistaken, by Spain. But I'm going to have to look that up.
Right. So if it's a government, if it's a corporation, it has no parity or relation with a flesh and blood being. So that's the first thing. That's why the prophet said, if you do nothing else, you've got to declare, your nationality, which is one, your allegiance to your family, and that you're not a corporation.
Right.
So now you know who you're dealing with, and you know who you are, like that. and deal with them respectively, as Annie was saying. So when does a corporation tell a flesh and blood being what to do, and when does government officials or representatives, as they call themselves, tell the people of the government, not the representative of it, not those officials, as they call themselves. They're not even that, really. They're pretending to be what they're not.
And some of them probably are not aware of what's going on as well, I believe.
Of course. Some of them are not. They went to school with you. Yeah. But you can't be upset about it. You can't have emotions about it. You can't be angry about it. You have to be intelligent and speak in intelligent tones once you find out what it is that you need to know. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about, some references for me to get into my studies and learn more about you.
Well, you got to go. If you go to RV Publications website, there's a lot of different books you can get. There's a lot of, even if you don't get books, you can just study the information that's on there. And believe me, somewhere in there, I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. Or references to what else you may need to do.
Right. I just want to be knowledgeable to secede from the system.
Well, you are the system. When we say the system, we have to identify, just like the movie The Matrix. You just kind of want to come out of that matrix, which is the falsehood. And the only way to do that is to put the truth in you and live life accordingly. That's it, and that's all. That's it. So that requires what? The study that you're talking about, you're looking for, so that you can be who you are and know who else is or is not.
And let them stop being afraid.
And the fear is the biggest thing. And I think that's why when the prophet wrote, what was it? I don't know. I think it's caveat emptor. It says, Moors are upright, fearless, and independent. Because it's the fear that has been put in us. Really, it's really not so much the fear. What it is the lies about who is who and what is what that we have held on to and believed. Just like you were saying, well, the government. I always said I hated the government, right? Okay. Right. It's the lack of knowledge and the lies that we've been indoctrinated to, that when something comes that seems to be adverse to, opposite to that, then the unknowing, the fear is the not knowing, and that's the reason why study must occur. So you know.
And I have no problem with study.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Oh, wait. Am I on this? Nope, I'm not. All right. So our next, thank you so much for that. Our next caller is caller 443-769. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Maximum.
Islam. Peace and greetings, family. I am Hassan, Ghazi Obey at Northwest Maximum House family.
All right, Islam, Ghazi.
Islam. I was calling all you guys because I heard something about liberty, and I did go to Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, Mother Anita, and in looking at the different Latin phrases that were for liberty, there were a few that were very interesting and very liberating, so to speak. One on page 1062, when you actually see the word liber, like L-I-B-E-R, it gives you the adjectival form as well as the noun form. The adjectival one is Latin for free, open, and accessible. Just to give the beginning of that, and the beginning of the one for liber in Latin is a book. But I just wanted to kind of like fast forward to the one that says on page 1063, in studying liberty, when you had said that, it had sparked something inside of me to go, okay, let me look at everything that may have like the prefix of liberty in it. And on 1063, I had saw libera, L-I-B-E-R-A, Latin, and in parentheses it says feminine of liber, the adjective free. at liberty, exempt, not subject to toll or charge. And it also says it is also a livery or delivery of so much corn or grass to a customary tenant, cut down or prepared the said grass or corn, and receive some part or small portion of it as a reward of gratuity, cowl.
Excuse me, I just have a question. Are you reading out of the Black's Law 4th edition dictionary?
Yes, page 1063.
Can you turn to that, Ms., because he's reading some subdivision of liberties. Liberties are broad, but this most strict sense. It means the ability.
I stepped away for a second. What was the definition?
Liberty.
Liberty.
I was looking at a few words in Latin before liberty, or looking at words that had like liber in them that would kind of like pertain to liberty, and that's what I was reading. Libera.
Let me just say, the reason I mentioned people to go to the Black's Law 4th edition dictionary, and I did not tell them over the air again, is so that people will individually go and write this information down for themselves. Because I could have read some of the definitions out of the Black's Law Dictionary. It's there to go and look that up individually for themselves. They need to know. They need to do that homework assignment.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's 100 on that. And again, as stated, liberty, there's all types, as you were seeing, all types of liberty. But so it's broad. But liberty in its most strictest sense is the ability to move to and fro.
Right.
Which we have on the back of the travel card. But I understand what Aunt E's saying. She's saying, listen, it is the time for people to go and do just what you're doing right now and read it for themselves, because I have witnessed, and you may have also, and those listening may have, when you tell somebody something, they hear it. But when they sit down and you put it in front of them and they read it for themselves, something else happens to them. It's like all of a sudden they realize, oh, shoot, I see it for myself. I read it for myself. And although you've been telling them, and it's not that they don't trust you or they don't believe you, something happens when they read it for themselves. It's a different awakening in consciousness.
Well, in addition, the definition, the complete definition of liberty, if you really copy it down, 4 pages.
That's right.
Yeah, the entire definition of liberty is almost 4 pages.
That's right. Very broad. Yeah. Because there's all kinds of liberties. And guess what? All of those kinds of liberties, every last one of them are being violated by people who don't know what liberty is, but they cry about, you violated my liberties, and never read what their liberties actually are. That's why they need to read themselves. Because that's where we are now. I mean, like, in other words, we've done all types, as you know, Godly. Research, gave it to the people, put it on the silver platter, put it right there in front of them, dug it all up and stuff, and some of them never even read it, even though the work was done. So, unfortunately, it's still done, and it can't be retracted, and then we wouldn't want to. But if they don't see enough fire behind them for themselves go do these things, then there's no motivation for them. They're looking for something totally different that they're not going to find at this hour in the game, as we call it. They ain't going to find it because it's from within.
Wow. Indeed, I comprehend it. Everything that you guys are saying fully.
Yes. Yeah. So let them read the liberty instead of you reading it on this show tonight. Let them at least go read it.
Indeed, I was just saying that, and then I'll yield the floor. I was just saying, like, it's like around that liberty and the Latin around it too is very rich too as well. But I yield the floor. Thank you all so much. I love what you guys are doing as always, and I'm always tuned in. Islam, beloveds, peace and love.
All right, peace and love.
All right,
Moor.
caller 415. What? Oh, caller 415-745. You're live on the air. Please state your affiliation at Northwest Connection.
Hakeem Bay. We're in California. Yes. How y'all doing?
All right.
You're not in California. California is a corporation.
Right.
Near. Say near.
Yeah. Well, I'm just feeling a little bit broken right now, so I was calling for some help because can you help me sort of answer a question for me? What are the 7 locations that we need to send the nationality papers to?
Well, that's a part of the process when you get them sealed. The 7 locations come with the cover letter that is sealed and signed by the person who sealed your paperwork. So
right.
The cover in Unity.
I got it.
Did you get your paperwork sealed? Mailed them to the Connecticut location?
Yes, I did. I over a year ago. I never got them back. That's the reason for my
You never got your papers back, or you never got the cover letter? Because sometimes it could be the cover letter may have been forgotten or something. But did you get the papers sealed at Connecticut?
No, I didn't get them back at all. But yeah, I did have them sealed. This is gigabytelife at Gmail.
No, hold on. You got them sealed at the Connecticut mailing location, or you got them sealed somewhere else?
Hartford, Connecticut, right?
Yeah. Did you send there?
Yes.
And you never got them back?
Nope.
All right, what's your affiliation?
Hakeem Bay. AHLKEEM. So, my sister.
AHLKEEM. All right. Now, did you change your mailing location personally?
Maybe. Yeah, I updated you guys. I updated you. So.
All right, and that's for you to look at.
Wait a minute. You updated who, and how did you do that?
Yeah. I'm out in the rain. I don't have all the details, but I sent it to 9, whatever the email is. We've already corresponded a number of times. I had made a mistake on the first document, so I corrected that, and I sent them back, but I never got the corrected documents back. And so the reason for my call is that I had them arrest me probably 7-9 times within a 2-year period, and that all resulted in a false felony charge that was put on me, stating that I had assaulted a cop when none of that actually happened. So, as you can imagine, I've never been arrested or in jail. None of these things. My whole life stayed clean, and all of this was going on, and I refused to sort of go through with the proceedings. So they vacated the case to the competency court. Now, I didn't read the law until after the fact and realized that I could have, I didn't have to even speak at the competency or whatever, but I just was making my statements that I was assaulted. And though they were supposed to report that, they did not. And they actually, doctored the paperwork, rendered me incompetent with some very derogatory, paranoid statements, you know what I mean? And so that's still outstanding. And they've done more than that. They've done, like they say, quiet weapons for quiet wars. So I've been quiet about it, but they've done a lot more than that. And this is still outstanding. And I'm just like, if I can't get any accountability, I was like, man, what the heck do I do? So I've just been stagnant in that sense, and just not ready to really face it until I could get some support from somebody in the community, which has been challenging for me.
All right. Here's the thing. See, what you're telling me is not unfamiliar.
Okay, you got to stand still because the wind's on.
I'm getting ready to go. I'm like 2 houses from my house.
Because we can't talk with all the wind. All right, that's better.
Okay, here's the thing. What you're talking about is what everybody is going through. See, because we were not taught the law. So what I always tell people is do not change anything. Once you get this, I mean, proclaiming your nationality is a mental thing. It's for you to know. It's not something that you know you need to do anything about because you are already what you are. All right? So
yes.
Once you start getting this information, it's up to that individual to get further information and study. There's nobody who is obligated. There was nobody who was obligated to do this when you was in these modern European schools. You never held none of them people accountable. So why is it that people are trying to hold, you know, their family member accountable, and that's all we can do is give you information. So it sounds like a situation come up, and like a lot of people, you are waiting on a name correction and a proclamation to send in as an answer. That is not an answer. You have to. We have to learn how to document what is happening to us. I'm willing to say
I've done that. I've documented extremely well. I have notarized affidavits. I've been keeping a good paper trail.
All right. Let me ask you this: do you have a cause of action?
Yeah, I have multiple causes of action because I was assaulted in jail. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I need a cause of action for what kicked this whole thing off. Now, most of us, our cause of action, they don't, because we give these people names and titles that denote some government authority, our own words are used against us because we don't know how to call a thief or a kidnapper or an assaulter exactly those names. You don't know these people. They just rushed on you. You don't know their names. The only thing you know is 9 times out of 10, they're modern Europeans, males with a gun. That's it. But when we write up our cause of actions, we don't say this unknown modern European male with a gun attacked me. We usually officer so-and-so of so-and-so police, county, whatever. All of that sounds like, okay, so that's a valid government. What's the problem?
Who's scraping? Somebody's scraping and we can't. It's you.
I believe that's the caller.
Oh, yeah.
But look, what I'm what I will do is I'm not going to be able to do this until Friday. I got your number. I have a whole box full of returns that I have not been able to get to people. And you're telling me that you sent an update to an email. We have almost 6,000 emails.
Yeah, he sent an update of his
GS Nama, I think it was.
GSNAMA 7. We have almost 6,000 emails. We're never going to find an address update. The best thing you could have did was to send a processing form in the mail and say, this is my new mailing address. Can you please send any documents you have to me?
Well, yeah, I believe at this point they've gotten an intercept. They've gone to that FISA court, that secret FISA court. My phone has been intercepted, things of this nature. And I received an email from you guys requesting like some information, and I wasn't sure if it was really y'all, even though it said the address. You know, it could be a little something there. But I just need to know how to proceed at this particular point. Like, should I go and work? You know, it's basically, you know, I got judged incompetent or whatever, and then now it's in, I guess it's still in the appeals process. Should I go up to the public defender and work with them, or, you know, how should I really proceed? Now, I've stood on my square, you know what I mean, as best as I could, you know, and I've been the rogue figure, but that's not, hasn't been enough.
Well, you said you found out afterwards, and you did, and I know that's kind of annoying to people sometimes afterwards. That as far as that so-called competency test that you took, that you realized afterwards that I didn't have to answer any of that. So the deal is, these are thieves, these are murderers, these are thieves, they're usurpers, and anything that, like, if we don't go with law, if we don't do things that are lawfully for our own advantage, they will just stick their little vampire thing and suck the blood. So now we already know that whatever questions they're going to ask, matter of fact, the whole test is, for them to determine if you are competent. Who are they to even do that? What you do, as you know now, is you agree to show up, and you know that it's going to be used against you, so, you can't do nothing that's used against you, so you don't answer it. Well, now they done determine you incompetent. But what you need to do is, that's an order, or what do you call it, an edict, a suggestion of the court. So you're going to have to take that they did, and rebut that.
Okay. I'm willing to bet that you probably are not even aware of who your attackers are. And that's not being disrespectful or anything. It's just that a lot of times we have been taught that our attackers is the state, and it's not. It's some municipal corporation that you man. So in order for you to even prepare, right now, to be honest with you, there's really nothing that we can tell you to do over the phone in 5 minutes, knowing nothing about your situation, really, because the little bit that you have told us, it's not even enough to give you any type of reasonable instructions, and it would be so grossly unreasonable for us to even attempt to try and tell you what to do with the little sliver of information that you have given us.
Okay.
It's just not. We would be doing both of us a great injustice. So the only thing that I can do is, I got your number, and what I'll do is I will call you tomorrow. My phone number doesn't show up, so I don't know if you're going to even answer your phone call, because it sounds like you are in an unsafe mental place right now where you think anyone might be coming to do you harm.
I'm the only one out here. They've been doing quite a bit. I've experienced a lot. I went to the gym, and this retired judge was waiting for me after I was hitting on the bag, and then he started trying to feed on my heart, and I could feel it. And every time I moved to move my heart away from his heart space, he kept countering me. So I know what you're talking about when you say they some vampires and they some bloodsuckers. I done seen it. No, I know it real time. So, and then they do a lot of other things, a lot of other perverted things, and I pick it up, So for me, they've been trying to steal my narrative, you know what I'm saying? Like, my business ideas and things of this nature. So it's a little bit bigger than meets the eye, the likes of Facebook, Instagram, NFL Network, you name it, and I can call it. So they're basically trying to discredit me. They're trying to discredit me so that I don't have
to be on Facebook. You don't even know who you're talking to on Facebook. I don't care what picture they put up. To me,
more true than ever before.
You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what they're encouraging you to do. You don't even know if the information that they're giving you that may sound good is good. But now I wouldn't see, and another thing that we as a people have been mentally conditioned to do is we will receive all kind of information from any modern European or somebody who sounds good, but we don't take the necessary steps to research it and to determine if it's valid and if it can even work for us. because every piece of information that you get may not be able to work for you. But one thing I can tell you for sure works for you is the American Constitution. But, and I don't know where you are in this situation, and like I said, we will call and talk further with you. But to me, the first thing that I would suggest you do, and it might sound very trivial, but it's not, is I would suggest you go buy some sage and burn it, because you got a lot of negative energy around you, and you need to be free of it, and you need to be able to calm down and feel safe within yourself, and sage will help you to do that.
Yes, that's a very good idea. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
So,
bless me, love.
I would suggest that we will talk tomorrow.
I'll answer the call. What time are you suggesting you'll call?
I'm going to try and call about 10, but just don't try to hold me to it exactly, but I will try and call at 10.
Okay.
I'm going to set my alarm.
All
right?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Right.
Peace.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace and love. All right. Our next caller 97. Wait a minute. 972. 972-839. 972-839. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Lansing.
Islam, this is Abdul Malik Shakur Bey. I'm calling from Northwest Mexico, the Texas Territory. Y'all having another good show, a great show tonight once again. I'd just like to say, to preserve and to promote the understanding of our history, of our foremothers and our forefathers, which we are today, Moorish America. We need to study, and show ourselves approved that when we exemplify within ourselves, then others will see us that, as you were stating, speaking correct language and using the correct terminology at law, in law, and then we would be progressive, standing on our square. And I also like to state that we as Moorish Americans, we need to know that 2016 has passed, it's around the corner, it's 2017. We are facing an old enemy with a new name, and they are trying to gratification us. That means definition that they are trying to do the process of transformation, and the process is that of gratification. As I just stated, the term was coined by a scientist named Ruth Glass in 1964 after her recognition of the transformation of physical, social, and economic elements within a community are transformed. They are doing this old thing, and we need to know who our foremothers and our forefathers were, which we are today. And we need to study well, that when we are faced with these obstacles, then we'll be able to stand and use the correct terminology within law, and we will be, regardless of the consequence, because I know there will be great consequences, that not only for us, but those knowing that our illustrious prophet brought us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah. Now, I heard you stated the area, the Pacific area that you live and derive in, you need to study and know. Now, I went to Yale. Yale University is an American private Ivy League, so we know they're not American. They are colonial corporate institute that is still embedded in our land. It's a research university in New Haven, Connecticut. They were founded in 1701 in Saybrook Colony, as you know, if they're in a colony, and then once they transform and submit our authority and land mass area over to them, and they will divide and equalize it as they feel fit. But go on. But that school was to turn our congregation. It is the third oldest institution of their higher education in our United States. And further on, I'd like to go and say the Colgate School moved to New Haven in 1716 and shortly after was renamed Yale College in recognition of a gift from so-called British East India Company. You hear that? Company by Elihu Yale. Now, Texas, the republic that I'm living in, northwest of Mexico, since the time of the global landmass called Pangea, Texas drifted 2,000 miles north. To give a couple of examples, the volume of coral built up on the Inawakta Atoll in the Marshall Islands is around 250 cubic miles. This is equivalent to building the Great Pyramid of Giza more than 416,000 times. But the Guadalupe Mountains of West Texas and New Mexico, are one of the best examples anywhere. They even have a time interval named after them. Guadalupe refers to epoch from 270 million to 260 million years ago. Now, some people said that's not possible. And I go back and say, who made you? Allah. Who is Allah? Allah is the Father of the universe. Can we see him? No. Where's the nearest place can we meet him? In our heart. Who is Noble Drew Ali? He is our prophet. He was sent to us because we needed him most, and I believe every word that he says. I study and I do the research, and you all at RV Bay Publication Moor History School are some of the best teachers on this earth, and y'all teaching and instructing people not only with information, laws that can help them, but you have to apply them to yourself and know thyself in order to use them and be recognized of yourself, and that which you do. I believe the flow is long.
Long.
It's long.
It's long. All right.
Thank you for that.
It's long, Miss.
It's long. Really.
All right.
Wow.
Let's see. Take our next caller. Caller 404-910. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Mexican. Peace and greetings. I am Jay, residing in the Corporation of Georgia, and I have a comment and then a question. Well, two comments and a question. The first one is thank you for providing the website, the Yale website that had the, where we can see the charters and everything. I'm a homeschool teacher, so I like to try and, present things to the children. I mean, they're young, but I feel like you put it in them early and it'll grow with them and they'll take it. And I've seen that with my daughter that I've homeschooled for 7 years. She hears things now that she's in a different situation, in a different school, and she'll come back to me and say, well, the teacher said this, but I know that that's not right, that it's really this and this. So that really helps when I can, not just say things, but know and have the documentation and the proof to be able to show the children that. So thank you for that website. I would definitely be using that, in our studies and everything.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah, and then yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed this today too. But the other thing I was going to say is that when you mentioned earlier
about the proclamation papers and the ID not being an answer. I think I have an understanding of where you were going with that. But if you could elaborate on that a little bit, I would definitely appreciate that. I know we need to know and stand on our square and study more, to know more. But if you could kind of elaborate on that a little bit, I would appreciate it.
Well, I know Anna E. probably will want to answer that, but just in short, for me, I think what that means is the proclamation, those are lawful notices. You are just putting people on notice that you are who you are. Now you have to be who you are. However, if someone, you have to answer what is supposed to be a lawful charge, so-called, by answering it lawfully. Not saying, hey, I'm Moor, that's it. No. You got to, answer it lawfully and respond. And if you want to pick up from there, I'm sure that's what was meant by that when I said it right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. These people now, because we have been mentally conditioned with wrong information, we're constantly raising them above us. All right? They're not. If we can begin to look at them like we look at Walmart, because they're equivalent to a Walmart. Only difference is they don't have a product or a service. All right? Mm-hmm. I don't care what county, city, town, township, borough you are near. These are all corporations. They are a foreign municipal corporation on American soil. So they are making claims, and they are putting these claims in writing. For example, they may claim that you used their motor vehicle in a manner that they didn't allow you to, because they talk like the automobile that you have is theirs. Mm-hmm. That's a claim. You have to rebut that claim. You have to rebut the claim, and you have to say, look, this is my personal private property. And if there is someone, and if you feel that you have some claim on my property, then please produce verifiable documentation. Instead, what people are doing is these people are putting into the public a claim. And people are sending a name correction and proclamation. That is not a rebuttal.
Right.
You laugh. You see. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, and see, because of this action, what happens is you never rebut the claim. Now, because you have never rebutted the claim, everyone continues to move forward because a non-rebuttal is agreement of the fact that is in their claim. All right? So people are surprised, oh, I don't understand. I sent in my name correction proclamation, and they still move forward because you never rebutted their claim. So an unrebutted claim means that you are in agreement with whatever these people wrote, no matter how outlandish it might be.
Right. I definitely, I agree with that. And see, and that's the other part too. It's like, oftentimes, we know that we're studying and we're learning the Constitution and our rights and everything, but then figuring out how to get them to, to act on that or to not act on that, not violate us. That's the tricky and the hard part.
And I don't know if there's someone within the organization that could, that could help out with that, or that could, provide some insight on that, or how with the Christianity, and they have ministers that can come and speak or talk and do different things like that. I don't know if there's someone in the organization like that, but just to,
what organization would that be? I'm just asking. You said in what they have ministers? What organization is that?
Well, you know how like when someone is incarcerated and they have like the pastor can come and be able to not really speak on behalf of the incarcerated person, but kind of counsel them a little or pray for them or whatever. But that's what I'm saying, like within the
right.
the
But here's the difference.
First of all, let me just clear up some misunderstanding with that. All of these municipal corporations, they are a part of a Christian crusade establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you are Islam and they are Christian is a First Amendment violation.
Mm.
Okay? As Moors, all copper complexion people can never be Christians.
Right.
Because the Christian crusade was established to wipe you out.
Right.
You can't be a member of that establishment. And if you are, you either are unaware, which means it's easy to take you and your entire family out, or you are very much aware, which means you're a traitor to your own family.
Mm.
Those are the only two options. Now, you said organizations. The Moors is not an organization. They're a nation. They are the Aboriginal Indigenous People of planet Earth. You will find them all over planet Earth. We are all just one family.
Right.
All right. I don't care if you go to what they are calling today Africa and see some copper complexion people. That's family. You go to China, you see some copper complexion people. That's family. You go to Alaska, you see some copper complexion people. That's family. If they're copper complexion, that's one family. We need to get that through our head. Okay, we ain't family because we seem to populate one area, or we may have a surname that is the same. Because Ilbede Allen Ali is our title, and you see there's 5 of them, but it still represents one family. So that's what we got a lot of mental conditioning that works against us. And, there's a lot of people, and they get excited about this information, and then they do things prematurely. I can tell you from my own experience, I've been studying since I've always been studying. It is not you that determines when it is time to do something. The universe determines when it is time for you to do something. And until the universe drops an opportunity in your lap that you can't walk away from, the only thing that you need to do is just continue studying.
And let's say this too, as far as the religious aspect, it is time now. Well, first, understanding what she said, we're the mothers and fathers of civilization on the entire planet, and those who have established civilization principles and government. I know that we don't know that, and we're asleep with that, but that is the facts. So, with that being said, it's also time for us to wake up and to take our place amongst the affairs of man, right? And we must make free, if I can use that terminology where you're saying ministers, of ourselves. We have to have this knowledge first. Now, we can build with each other, but and that's what you're asking, but what you're really asking is, I realize I need to know some things, and that requires the study of what it is you need to know, because we could say right now, You should write a writ like this, or even the what they call boilerplates, which are just examples for people to study from and use part of if they need to or whatever. Even with that, if we were to give you a writ right now for your situation, not even knowing all what it is, unless you understood what it said and what it meant and could stand on it, because you didn't cast that spell, because you said you were teaching, right? Okay, spelling is casting a spell. You have to write your own and cast your own spells in that respect, so that you can stand on it when challenged against it. And that's one of the problems. So although they are there for people to review, to look at, to use, part of it, all of it, whatever, and to turn it the way they need to turn it, but when people say, well, I'm just going to take this writ and put it in, and they have not even read nor do they understand any of the tenets of which they are standing on, that's the problem. So the only way in and out is study. That's just the truth. And you can start with knowing what the law is, so you can recognize when you've been violated. And you know, the law of this land is the Constitution, and then you have to know where you are in it. Now, we will suggest going to the Sisters Standing on Law, the archives to the Sisters Standing on Law, where I don't know, that was like a year or so ago, maybe two almost, where we broke down every article and every amendment in the Constitution and showed where we are in it. So that is, and it has a syllabus attached to it on the Sisters Standing on Law page, which has the questions that you would research. So you could pull down the syllabus, and it's a class right there. And then the answers to that is actually on the archive, the audio archives that we did. And that'll help you better understand their position. Then you can read Declarations of the Rights of Indigenous People and know that you are, in fact, the Aboriginal and Indigenous person. Not just Indigenous, because people can be Indigenous but not Aboriginal. So, and as Anna Edith pointed out, they're the same principles you're going to find in the Constitution, because it's universal law. It's universal. And then the rights of the child. And you'll see it in there, too. Principle number 3 in the rights of the child. Every child has a right to a nationality and a right to change it from birth. Or every child has a right to a nationality at birth. And then the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Principle 15, it says everyone has a right to a nationality and the right to change it. It's right there.
So let me ask you this then, just to make sure I'm getting what you're saying. So basically, when it comes to the papers and the identification, that's just basically putting everyone on notice, but you really don't need that in order to stand on the Constitution.
No, we're not saying you don't need it. We're saying you don't need it to go into the deal with your matters.
She's saying you don't need it to stand on the Constitution and your rights.
Of course not, because let me just say why. Anything in written form is nothing but a brief in writing, right, that expresses your position regarding a matter. So, no, you don't need it. That's like a lot of people think, well, I need that in order to be a Moor. You were born a Moor. The proclamation is a lawful notice, because law is notice. That's what it is. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to wait for a response. I'm asking permission. No, you're making a lawful notice, and then you start being who it is you say you are, because you're making a lawful notice that you are aware. Don't talk, you are aware of who you are. Now you got to be who you are, who you say you are. And a lot of people, they have made the notice, but they really aren't being who they say they are. Or they don't know anything about who they really are. So yeah, if I misunderstood you, you don't need it to be who you are. But putting them on lawful notice is what had what's her name? And I can't think of the woman's name now. The Secretary of State at the time was Hillary Clinton, where she came out and said, "Listen, the first nation to recognize us was Morocco." Now you have a lot of people looking for Morocco, the kingdom, but that wasn't established until the late 50s, early 60s, because she gave the date. She said in 1897. She was given the date of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship when we gave them their rights to travel the seas without being molested. So she established the first nation. She didn't say first county or first state or first people. She said first nation. And so when you go back to that document, she saw the Moors. And Morocco is America. Because that Morocco kingdom wasn't even existing. Plus, you know, a kingdom is inferior to the empire anyway. So those are the little things that one would have to know. Now, we have all that on the site. As you study, you will see it.
Okay.
And then you can check it out for yourself. But, yes and no, you don't need the paper. As a matter of fact, whatever the paper says, if you're not able to stand on your square with it, then you're in a little bit of trouble. Because you have to be able to know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, peace and love. All right, caller 214-374. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest New Mexico.
That's you, man.
Islam, caller. Islam?
Yes.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, we hear you.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Peace.
Greetings. This is giving praise and honor to being on the program tonight. I always love you, and I always think you're giving such good information that we all need. And when it comes to filing and having your, like the young lady was talking about, her instrument papers that she sent in and things like that, and many times because we don't study enough, we don't realize some documentation is made for us, and some you have to know how to properly give those papers out and be careful when you give them out, because we don't understand and we don't read it. Because I remember you saying some time ago, have you read those proclamation papers? Do you know what they're saying? Yeah. And many of us don't, because we just get it and we don't internalize it and don't know what nationhood and nationality is. And all I know is when you go before and in those courts and things, you have to let everything precede you. I even remember to say my honor instead of your honor. So that's the terminology that we have to learn, and it is a process to learn it. And if you can, get you some law classes. They do have people who do offer law classes, and they have to, and they need, some of them need to stay off the Facebook doing ignorant stuff. I see them doing some real silly stuff who call themselves learning about nationality, and some things are made for you and your family to know. And a lot of them are putting it inappropriately on social media, which I have a big problem with that myself.
So do we.
Yeah, and I just appreciate y'all, and Abdul's my husband, and we've been working and listening. Right now, we're getting ready to do some more paperwork with this so-called fake mortgage that they have our people tied to. And if AT&T doing you ugly, send in a complaint. And do you know now they make you send a certified letter? Okay.
Really?
We don't send in complaints. We see a wrong price on our bill. Oh, I'll pay it now. What? I'm not going to pay that. That's not part of the contract.
It's long.
We would just sit and take anything. You see the price is wrong on your water bill. Oh, what? Complain, tell it, write up, put it on paper. I had to put some insurance on a car. I sent it all the way to the Better Business Bureau. Right now, I complained so much they took a whole month off the bill. Well, you don't have to pay it this month. I know I don't. Okay.
And so those are some of the things that we have to stand on our square and do, but put it in writing. What the prophet say, the power of the what? The power of that pen.
The pen. That's right.
Power of that pen. It's it. And always be very polite. Don't be rude. Don't be ugly, but be precise and be clear and go with the terminology that we know is what we need to free our families. Okay, I brought you enough to save a nation. Now free yourself. We try to go around trying to free everybody else, and we not free. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
You know.
That's right.
And that's what you see. I try to tell yourself. Okay, and that's what we have to learn to do, because it's all a learning. It's a learning situation, and it's internalizing. But the Rights of the Indigenous People and Children's Act, after I've read that, I think I'm still reading it. And it takes many times of reading it to even learn just a part of it. You have to read it over and over and over and over and over. You go to sleep with it laying on your chest. Okay, ain't that right, sister? That's why you have to do.
Yes,
and you wake up with it, you go to sleep with it, and you get up and you do your prayer before you leave the house, because you know you're going to go out there and run them obstacles. Just do that prayer the prophet gave us, and it really, really helps. And all those running around talking about they're having problems, when you go off and read that divinely prepared Holy Quran, Circle 7, the more you read it, the more you just wake up. You just bloom.
Stop your
and
problem.
That's what a lot of problems are. We don't deal with the basics. We'll go in there, and when we want to order materials from you, like I tell somebody, when they want to mention to me about nationality, do you have a one-on-one, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, and do you have a copy of the bylaws? You have those as the basic. That will lead you further into a better understanding. But I just like to tell you that I appreciate you so much, and I care for y'all, and please keep it coming, and please help giving us strength who are on the path to nationality, which is the call of the day.
And I do say it's the year of the 7.
You know, I do say we're in the year of the 7 now. We're in the year of the 7. So we're going to move forward and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And y'all have a wonderful day, and be careful in that cold weather where y'all are up there. Be safe.
It's long.
It's long. Thank you, Mother, from the mouth of the Mother. All right.
It's long. Thank you for that.
All right. And she said it just like it's supposed to be too. Like, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the order.
And that Circle 7 Holy Quran, she's right. It has all the problems. That's why it was divinely prepared. With and in it, all the problems people have today, it absolutely strengthens you with those things. Just go through it and read. You can go right to what you think is your problem. It's there.
Yeah.
That's right.
With your children, your family, your marriage. It's all in there. It's all in there. And then you would lead into us and see, we want to, well, did you get your bill revoked? What? Come on. Okay, that's on down the road, and you do those complaints. And as right now, I'm trying to get all these people around here who've been burnt on this house. And come on, let's all do one complaint together in unison and as one. But we want to all go separately because we're thinking about that fake but fiat. We can't get past that fake fiat. Okay. So love y'all, everyone, and peace and love. Bye.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. One.
All right. Our next caller is 386-302. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Connection.
Islam and greetings, everyone. This is Queen Khalifa. I'm calling from Florida corporate. I'm calling because I have like two questions. One of them is I sent off for my for the proclamation, and I sent it to the address that was listed, and I did like overnight mail. And it came back to me saying that it was, I guess, like refused or returned.
Yeah, did you send it with a signature required? Did you send it with a signature required? Well, then you didn't follow the instructions on the site. It says do not send anything that requires a signature or it will be sent back. All right.
Okay.
Because they'd be sitting there for an hour just signing for all of those things. So that's the part of the reason. All right? So resend it.
Okay. And my other question is, there's a corporation that I used to work for back in 2007. And, during the time when I was working for the corporation, I had direct deposit to like a federal union bank, a credit union bank. And, I quit. I'm no longer working there. And it's just the weirdest thing. And I know that I went there to ask them. It's like I constantly keep getting these bank statements from them. And every time I get the bank statement, it's saying that there's nothing in the account because when I left the corporation, I went and I closed the account. And I went there some years back to get the paperwork to state, that the account was closed. Because, like I said, it's from 2007 until now. Yesterday I went to the mail and picked up another bank statement. And I'm like, I don't understand why is this bank keep giving me blank bank statements, monthly statements. I get them every month, and I've been getting them from the year 2000.
I can tell you. So I just want to answer that. Are you saying that you just don't want to be receiving these bank statements?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're giving.
All right, here's what you do. Here's what you do.
Okay.
This is what you do. It's very simple. You don't open the letter. You write on there, no such person at this location and return it. Just pop it right back in the mail.
Okay.
If it comes back to you, put a piece of tape over the to section, whoever it's being addressed to. Put a piece of paper or sticky over the to section and pop it back in the mail, and it will return back to the sender. You do that a few times, it will never send you anything again.
Okay, yeah, because I'm there's a part of me I'm wondering, okay, are they doing something with my name that I don't know about? Because that just doesn't make any sense. And like I said, I went to them some years ago to get a form stating that that account was closed, and I even asked them. I took the I've been keeping the statements, and I'm like, I took the statements in, and I said, this is a blank monthly statement. I said, why are you guys keep sending me this? Which they never answered me, and they did say the account was closed, but that just doesn't make any sense.
So she's saying they're still sending her these statements, and either she closed the account.
Yeah, I get them every month, and I've been getting them from the year 2007 all the way up till now. I just picked up a new one yesterday.
All right, but here's the thing. You might close an account on but an account is never closed. It's never closed. Once an account is open, it's open forever. They may block you from accessing it, but they could very well be doing something with it. It's like a conduit. Once it's open, and it ain't necessarily open for you.
Yeah, that's why I think that they're doing something with it. Because I said, this just does not make any sense. And like I said, I literally went in there and talked to them, showed them the monthly statement, And they couldn't explain to me why they were giving it to me. I mean, why I kept giving them. But they gave me a statement that the account was indeed closed. That's crazy, though. But yeah. But all righty. That was it. But I'm enjoying the show, and I'm enjoying the knowledge.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. Peace and love.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Were you saying something? I apologize. All right. No.
Oh, pardon me.
All righty. So the next caller we have is Brother Bakari. Islam.
All right. Greetings.
Islam. Honor to the panel. I was listening to the show, and one of the things that I wanted to share. I don't have a question, and I'll make sure, and I'll keep it brief because I know it's late now. But I just wanted to share with some of the callers that have called in and some of the people that have called in how much I learned from looking at the judicial notice and proclamation several times. Like one of the things that I've heard before I received the hard copy, my sealed copies, was that, you can read it, and then a couple of years later you'll read it again and you'll see something totally different. And that's because you're studying, and that's because you're, learning. And so it's a sad situation that, we want resolutions to so many of these so-called legal problems that we have. And we, definitely our rights and liberties are being abridged, but unfortunately most of us are putting in paperwork when we don't know what rights and liberties are, when we don't know what inherited nobility is, and we don't have a concept for that. Certainly we know that we're Moors, but we don't know truly how we are Moors, and the only way that you're going to get that information is either somebody shared something with you, or you're an old soul, or you read, and you read it for yourself, and then you think about it and ponder it. And then when you do that, that is when you are able to stand up in front of anyone in any administrative venue called a court or whatever they want to call it, and speak honestly about who you are and the fact that you are, in fact, a Moor. Maybe you don't have all of the technical terminology and the comprehension that comes with appropriate study, and to speak on that point, many people, I believe, I won't say that I know, but I know that it's true for me what I'm about to say, is many people don't comprehend how ignorant we are. And I can, and I certainly didn't, make that. I didn't know how ignorant I was when I received my judicial notice and proclamation paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know how ignorant about law and about many things, geography, so much information. See, what I'm trying to say is, for the record here, is that many of us feel that, we have a certain level of competence that is relative, that we think that we are a mature person and that we need to know this and that we have a grasp on this information, when in fact the vast majority of the populace is, sorely lacking in basic skills, whether it's math, whether it's, reading comprehension, whether it is how to eat, just think about it. If you are a person, a natural person on this planet, and you don't know what is physically, what is good to eat, for your physiology, whether you were intentionally misled is not the point. The point is you are ignorant of how to eat properly. And so what am I trying to say? All I'm trying to say is that what I noticed for myself, I could listen to R.V. Bay Publications, MHHS-Eyes Wide Open for decades. I could call into the show and I could, make commentary like I am doing right now. I can, write writs. But if I don't sit down and think about the information, if I don't have a book, go out and buy a 5-section notebook and some pens and start writing some notes down. If I'm not doing those activities, I'm not studying. If I'm not going out and getting a dictionary, if I'm not talking to other Moors, calling and asking questions, I'm not studying. If I'm not going to the library, I'm not studying. If I have a law dictionary in front of me and I'm watching a football game and I'm writing notes down, I'm still not studying because I'm not giving my full attention to one activity. See, that's called multitasking. Okay, that's what multitasking is. So let's say that you're doing 3 things at one time. You got 33.9% working on one thing of your mental energy. You got another 33.9% doing something else, or another 33.9% doing whatever, or just 33%, or 32 point something. Well, you are multitasking to 3 different things, so your focus is off. So what does that equate to? That equates to you taking longer to digest the material because you're not focused, you see. And so this is a lot of simple things that people don't comprehend, and I didn't comprehend it. Thank goodness that there were Moors who saw that I was sincere about certain things and would drop me certain hints, but there's a lot of things that people just can't say to you. You have to just go through it. So anyway, I'm going to yield the floor, and I hope that something that I said touched somebody. And before I do that, I want to say again, because I don't think that I can say thank you, and I know that this sounds, maybe soft or weak to some people, but I can't say thank you enough to R.V. Bay Publications, to Anna Eid, to Roz, to Cujo, to Miss Raeen, for all that you've done. I just can't because of all of the information that you've put out on the site has, there's nowhere on this planet that I can go right now, nowhere, and off this planet, where anybody has a prayer of dissuading me from the information that I know. It's not going to happen. Like there may be different ways that, different caveats, et cetera, but in terms of being a Moorish national, in terms of inherited nobility, in terms of Aboriginal, like when you say just the first, people should read like just the first paragraph of their judicial notice and proclamation, and just spend like a week or a month on that alone. Just drop it. Just drop it. Everything else. Just read the first paragraph, and that should take you a minute to study because it's dropping major information. You see. Right. So when I have that document, and I know that even having that document and signed it and having it sealed, et cetera, that's wonderful. But I still need to know certain things, as it pertains to the Constitution. So I want to end by saying if you don't know what to study first, I agree with Anna Eid. One of the many things that Anna Eid and Rosamaya has said for a long time. Just pick up the Constitution. Start reading that. Start getting get a dictionary and start breaking down the words in it, and start thinking about it, and go back to that syllabus, that Sister Standing on Law syllabus, where it broke that down. I mean, that's going to be extremely helpful for anyone considering proclaiming and declaring their nationality. I respectfully yield the floor, Islam.
All right, Islam.
Well said. Well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so much better.
Thank you, yeah.
It really does. Especially wearing the honors to the RV Bay publications, that's like a reflection back or a polar opposite of, the other crap that's been going on in trying to slander it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, yes. Well, it is 12:20, and we have no more callers. We have no more questions, and it's a great thing because we usually run out of time. So what I'm going to do is, if it's all right with everybody, we can just, do our wrap up and then close out with music, which we rarely are able to do.
We'll see everybody tomorrow at New York.
Yes. We shall see you tomorrow at the National Theater. Doors open at 6:30. Class begins at 7:30. And let's see, don't forget we got Sister Standing on Law this Sunday at 1 p.m. And no, we don't have the syllabus up yet. Like today.
But we know what it's going to be about.
Yeah, we have so many things we want to talk about, so I believe it's going to be an interesting conversation. So, sisters, make sure that you join us back on tomorrow, of course, and then Sunday, and next week, Sons of Allah will be seeing you next Thursday for Sons of Allah, as well as another installment of Principles of Nationality. So with that, we bid you peace and love. Good night.
One.
Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the bibliotext that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most believe. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it, to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. The gods are back, the Moors are strapped. We waking up, and we want our land back. Running off, that's a trap. You know them gods don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't bite back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. We enslaved Islam, so they slaved us right back. We called them niggas, then they niggered us right back. We brought them to light, but they ain't bring that right back. If I was lazy, dirty dancing with the baby, then just maybe won't revolt like Haiti. I too smart, Lova, Tor, Marcus, Garvey, your ass. Nova, Julia, Ali, and God body the man. Now I ain't gotta be bad, and you ain't gotta be mad, but the planet is heating up, so the first I'll be last. I got that melanin that's better than anything you ever medicine. We at your front door, wonder why you never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put some credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons to prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the Caucasus Mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain Caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied in law, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov cocktail burns faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so hearing that. Dead in the eyes of the law. That's why they call you black. Naming all cats when you fall. That's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure. I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, oh, you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Don't go on inside of my tribe, they coming no more.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then, after saying that, and so believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure, you're sitting there listening, or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor, and that's another thing, because we weren't called black. That description, maybe, black or Moor or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing, noun. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. From the pyramids to the project, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the King Alpha plan and it's set in full effect. The butler, the help, in 12 years the slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's the same. They ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Roz Mariah, Anna E, Miss Raheem, Tariq, Cujo from Cannonland. Listen to them speak. How to learn from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb has given from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them? The whole deal was like, this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. And I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal that they arrived
Absolutely.
in Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to.